we go. It gets me every single time watching that intro. Hello and welcome to another fabulous episode of Spill It. Spill It is a show where I get to speak to inspirational people and share some inspirational stories to connect people together, inspire others, and help people learn something new. This episode is, slightly different. I was about to say this episode is no different. It is, and there is a reason for that. But this episode is episode 80. Wow, we've done 80 of these bad boys. Yes, that is episode 80. You will be found, and you have got me. That's it. You've got me. It's an episode with me. It's Friday. That means it's my episode. It's my tea of the day. All of that jav. All of that lot. And yes, so you get a full episode of me every Friday. The Monday episodes are for the guest. My Friday episodes are for me to be talking to you in your ear. That's right. And you can follow me on all of my socials at @_Marcus W if you don't follow me yet. Make sure as well when you are in here, you light apparently. Let me start that again. Make sure that when you jump into here, you like, you rate, you subscribe, and of course, you are joining in the comments and you are saying hello and you're part of this week's conversation. So get those comments and questions in live, or you can, if you are listening to this via the podcast or you are listening to this on playback or however you are listening to this, if it is not live, you can also be part of the conversation by dropping me an email at marcus@spillit.uk, and you can drop me your questions and your comments and all of that lot, and I can read them on next week's show. Simple as that. Don't forget as well, one last thing that I speak. Jeez, let me stop that again. Lastly, the one thing that I ask for as well is, of course, to hit that share button. The reason that I ask for the share button is as simple as this, really. The more people that see this, the more it goes out. There might be people on your wall, on your page, on your profile that might not necessarily know that this is back. We are back for season 3. And so therefore, if you share it, it means that people get to come into the Spill It fold. And I know that obviously Spill It is coming to an end. We are coming to the end of season 3. However, that doesn't mean that we're going to be stopping all of the episodes and the episodes are no longer able to be listened to. No, it means that people who are just discovering Spill It can go back and watch all of the episodes that we have done so far. There you go. But yes, today you get me because it's Friday. And we are going to start with our brand new section called What's Your Ick? Disgusting! That's right. This section is called What's Your Ick? And as I said on the season 3 introductory episode, this is a section that I have got where I talk about a specific ick of mine that I have found this week, that where I see it, I just go, oh, God, people. Well, this week's ick is as simple as this, really. And for those who follow me on my social media, you'll know the one that I'm about to start talking about. It's horrendous, and it really makes me see red. And it's just one of those things. If you're one of these people, you need to just stop. You need to just jump off this planet right now. I'm not having it. Basically, those people who, when you're walking and you are, I don't know, walking through town, you're doing some shopping or whatever it is, you're in a supermarket, you're on the high street, wherever it is, and you're walking along and there's just somebody in front of you that just stops dead right in front of you. Who are you? Why are you just stopping dead? I don't understand. But yeah, those people basically who just either walk really slow or they just stop dead in the path. And you are like right behind them, and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, why are you in my way? It really annoys me. That is my absolute ick. If you are one of those people, you're a complete turn off. I'm not having it. Get out of my life. Simple as that. Not about it. Not about that life. Okay? So I'm warning you now. Honestly, I have had it with those people. As you can tell, today, because obviously I posted it on one of on my social media today, that is the one that happened to me today. And I was just stood there and I was thinking, why are you in my way? I don't understand why you've just stood there. You've just stopped. If you're going to do that, just move to the side a little bit. That's all you have to do. Just move to the side and do your business over there. That's fine. Like if I'm walking and I notice, for example, like my shoelace is untied, or I don't know where I'm going because the world is big and I might be in a new place or whatever, and I need to pull up my Google Maps just to figure out where I'm going. Or it could be that I have gone the wrong way and I need to just detour or whatever, or just got a phone call or something like that. I will move myself either left or right, doesn't matter, but I will move my way. I'll just check over my shoulder. Nobody does that, by the way. Nobody else does that. Quick, quick, just oh, somebody behind me. Best not just stop dead in my path. But yeah, I will move to the side. I'll quickly check off my shoulder, and then I'll move to that direction. Just like you would do if you're driving. And I would just move to the side. And I'm really going on about this subject because it's really annoying me today. But yeah, that is my ick for today. If you have got an ick, something that's just really done a number on you, something that's just really, if you've got an ick of yours where you just think, if somebody did that in front of me, it'd just be an instant, I don't like you anymore. Anything like that, make sure that you drop me a comment live or drop me an inbox as well and let me know what your ick this week is. And that was my ick for today. Okay, back to this week's subject matter. Well, I wanted to. The thing is obviously when we did the introductory episode, we was talking about the guest that we would have on, and the first guest that we had was Cameron McDonald. He was going to come on and talk about what the theatre life was like, obviously post lockdown and things like that, and having a bit of a catch up with him. However, and we wish him a very, very speedy recovery. Cameron he fell unwell, let's say, and he was unable to join the podcast on the Monday. And so therefore I was like, that's fine, no problem. And as I said, sending all of those best wishes and good luck, get well soon and all of that lot out to Cameron. And then so I thought, well, we can't do the Friday episode because obviously we'd be discussing theatre and I didn't want to kind of step on his toes and things like that. So I was like, well, let's just leave it for a week then. So then Jack was due to come on this week. And Jack has been caught with work. Now, Jack has been doing some phenomenal stuff with his working life. And I'm sure that when we catch up with Jack, he will tell you all about it. However, I'm not going to divulge his amazing work that he's been doing out in the open world. But yeah, so Jack has been working very, very hard, and he made every effort to try and at least pre-record an episode with me, but unfortunately his work has just taken over, which of course we will go through when he does have some free time and we can actually have that catch up. But then I thought, well, we can't have another week of not doing a Spill It episode, and so therefore I thought, well, let's do this week. And Monday was World Mental Health Day, and I thought, well, what a brilliant way to do a brilliant episode to talk about it, essentially, and give you some statistics, talk about my own personal experience, and maybe share some knowledge and information with you guys who may not necessarily might not necessarily know the certain things that I'll be talking about, like when it comes to mental health, or like my own personal experiences with mental health, etc. And this is a free open space, and why not? Why not? So yeah, it was World Mental Health Day on Monday, just gone, which I should have prepared this, but there you go. The World Mental Health Day would have been the 9th. Am I right with that? I think I'm right with that. I'll edit this bit out of the podcast. But yeah, sorry, the 10th. So the 10th was World Mental Health And yeah, so when that happened, I just thought, well, let's get some statistics together and let's push it out there, because even though we all talk about mental health and we all think, it's okay to be okay, it's okay not to be okay, and blah blah blah. Sometimes we don't talk about the seriousness of the situation, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give some real life information, like some personal things that I've gone through previously. It's not a secret; they've been in my book, and I've talked about it freely anyway. So I wanted to inject my own experiences about mental health into the ether, and bring us closer together in the spirit world and the spirit community. But also, I wanted to give you some statistics, because I don't think, even though we talk about it and we always try and say that, you can always reach out, blah blah, people don't reach out, and it's evident with these statistics. So, for example, suicide rates are up, and they are at a record high in some cases as well. So, for example, in 2021, there were 5,583 suicides registered, which is up year on year, by the way. And that's the seriousness of it. Every year, these numbers go up. One of the statistics that I found absolutely astonishing was females under 24 saw the largest increase of suicide since 1981. It's a struggle putting it into words what my thoughts are about this. But yeah, females under the age of 24, these are kids. And when I was 24 years old, I look back and I thought I'm an adult. But now that I'm older, I look at these 24-year-olds. These are kids, essentially. And we've seen the highest increase since 1981 of female suicides. Now, more than that, again, there has been another increase of this, 74% of registered suicides. So this number, 5,583, 74% of that, that's basically 3/4 of that were male. And that is a year on year. So that increases every single year. There has to be more that we do as a community, as a country, as a society, as a world, where we can do more. We have to be able to do something, because these numbers just keep going up. And even though more people are talking about mental health, and workplaces are doing more to offer support and offer services, there has to be more that we do. And whether that be that we do more as a public, or whether that be more that the government does, I don't know. There have been talks, for example, on doing education in schools with regards to suicide and with regards to mental health, which I personally think that it's not a bad thing. I think that it's needed, especially because of the rise of social media and the rise of obviously what comes with that, which is trolling and social media bullying, and the fact that we are trying, even from now, like a very, very young age now, are being glued to their screens and being glued to social media like TikToks and Instagram Reels and YouTube. Is it Instagram Reels? Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and all of that lot. They are chasing the likes. They are chasing the views. But that leaves them open for the world, because that's what these social media platforms are. They're opening them up to the world, and what may come from that is a lot of negativity, a lot of people trolling, a lot of people saying things, using that space in a negative way, and that will do a number on these children, these teenagers, these young adults. These adults, it's not just young people, it's adults as well. the way that the digital age is going at the moment, there are a lot more people who are chasing these likes and chasing these views. And I think that, and I feel that education around social media and around online bullying and around trolling and things like that, I think that's definitely needed, especially in this day and age. It is very, very, very unfortunate that these rates are going up. These numbers of suicide is going up. The rise of, I mean, naturally, I mean, this next thing that I'm about to say, obviously there is a natural cause of it. So there are more registered people who are being diagnosed with mental health issues. I get that number because we are talking about it more as a society. We are talking about it more. We are being educated and educating others and helping people realize their own problems, their own issues, their own realizing their own mental health. And so therefore they are seeking help, they are seeking advice, and they are going to doctors and they are going to professionals and they are being diagnosed. So I get why that number will be going up. What we need to remember, and I think this is the issue, is like when there's an issue or something that people focus on with regards to, like, say, like at the moment with the rise of mental health awareness, there is obviously going to be a natural increase of people going, well, that's me. I suffer with this, and I think it's freely thrown around as well. I think people wear certain things as a badge, or not necessarily a badge, but mainly like they oh, it's okay. It's because I suffer with this, or it's because I suffer with that, or people just throw around the term "I'm having a breakdown" quite freely, when in actual fact they're probably not, or that if they are suffering with something, they're excusing behavior. And what we need to remember about mental health is that when you are suffering with poor mental health, that's not a good thing. And there are people out there who are genuinely struggling, but they don't seek the help. And that's the issue. Or that's maybe not the issue, but an issue anyway. There are people, for example, who will suffer with signs of depression. And then that's it. Because of social media and because of the way that they are being educated or finding their resources or going online to find find out what their symptoms are, they're not seeking the professional help. And the problem with that is that they're not then being fully diagnosed and getting the help that they need. People are essentially suffering in silence, or they are suffering because there's no resolution, if that makes sense. There's a comment that's just come through from Linda. Sorry, I'm back. No problem, Linda. You come in whenever you want. So fucking don't worry about it. But yeah, I think that with mental health, there are a lot of people who will throw around, or they'll be sad. There'll be something that will come through and they're feeling sad or they're feeling down, and then they'll go online and then they'll look up symptoms and whatever, and they'll see that they are maybe suffering with signs of depression because they are in a bad mental space at that present time. The issue is that if, for example, something goes worse, if things progress, they're not seeking that help that they need. What they're doing is that they're going, well, it's because of my anxiety, or it's because of my depression, or it's because of my ADHD, or it's because of this. But because they're not actually seeking the help that they need, poor mental health or bad mental health is not normal. It's okay. It's okay to obviously be not okay. And it's okay to register the fact that you are suffering with X, Y, and Z. But it's not normal to keep in that space. you've got to be able to seek the help. You've got to be able to seek the support, and you've got to be able to get through it. You can't just stay in that moment. Deborah Kate is joined. Hi, Deborah from Arizona. It's very nice to see you again. Yes, Spillet is back. But yeah, we're back every Monday and Friday. You get an extra episode, Deborah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on mental health, and that's it's a very personal thought on how we get through this. It's not a case of just going, well, I suffer with this, and using it as a way to excuse certain behaviors or to kind of dismay certain feelings, if you will. That's a better way of phrasing it. It's people tend to use mental health or their mental health or their poor mental health to be able to basically negate the feelings, even though it doesn't negate the feelings at all. They, in people's minds, or some people's minds, obviously there's a range of different people, and this may only be like a minority of people, but this is what I feel. I feel that if you have signs of depression, if you have signs of ADHD, and you are self-diagnosing, or even if, for example, you have been diagnosed, there are certain people, there are a select amount of people who don't do anything with that. They don't seek further help. They don't seek further advice. They don't seek medication. They don't seek ways to get through it. They just go, well, I can't do this because of this. Or I can't, or if I'm feeling like this, oh, it's because I'm depressed, or it's because of my depression, or it's because of my ADHD, or it's because of my bipolar, etc. And they don't do anything about it. And that's where these issues come up, because it doesn't just go away. It manifests, it grows, it roots, and it just gets worse. I've been very freely open about my own mental health and my own mental struggles. So when I was younger, I suffered massively with severe depression. I was put into that frame of mind, and obviously there are things like hereditary issues that come from things like depression, but you are more susceptible to it. I truly believe that there were parts of it from obviously parents, but I think and I feel that issues growing up and coming to terms with who I was, as in my sexuality and the people who I wanted in my life and people who I didn't want in my life, and there was a conflict there. And then there were issues with family and friends, and also growing up through the school system, I was severely physically and mentally bullied. Because of all of that, it all came into my mind and warped it to, and I got to a point where I was suffering very, very badly with depression. I was diagnosed at a doctor's, my counsellor. So I had a counsellor when I was at college, and my counsellor came with me to the doctors, and the doctors diagnosed me there with depression. They said that they were going to put me on some tablets to obviously help my mental health. And I was on them for a while. And I decided after a while that I didn't want them anymore, and that I didn't want a tablet, a little pill, to be the reason for my happiness. I wanted to be the reason for my happiness. I wanted myself to be the reason why I was happy, not anybody else, or sorry, anything, this little tablet, if you will. Now, there are people out there who need that, and I understand that, and I get that. Me at the time, because obviously everybody's different, everybody works in different ways. Me at that time, being 20, 21, 19, 20, maybe 21, I think I started getting through it. Because of that, well, at that age, I didn't want there to just be a tablet for the reason of my happiness. It was me. I wanted to do it. And I started turning my life around. I recognized what I was dealing with in my own head. And I started my own self journey and also surrounding myself with positive people. The people around you are, they can really help you with your mindset. If you surround yourself with positive people, you will naturally start thinking and feeling more positive. If you surround yourself with negative people, people who are draining, people who are toxic, you will end up not being in a good space mentally, sometimes physically. I feel that many years ago, I surrounded myself with very positive people, and I have tried my best throughout the years to continue that and to continue surrounding myself with positive people. There are people, even recently, like even over the last few months, for example, who have been in my life, and they've been in my life for years, but they showed certain traits that did not align with my beliefs or were not positive influences in my life. And so therefore what I have done is that I have distanced myself from them. Reason being is that they made me feel certain things, certain ways that weren't great. So one person, for example, was specifically using me for money. They would only message me out of the blue when they wanted me to lend them money. And over the last few years, I have done that. I've helped them out when they've needed it. And it became consistent. It became something like every other week. It'd be a message, and it'd be late at night, and they'd just message me, and they would just say, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" I'd go, "Oh, yeah, I'm all right. How are you?" And they'd go, "Oh, really good. Just wondering if you'd be able to lend me X amount of money." And it got to a point I was like, "You only get," and I openly said it. "You're only getting in touch with me because of money. You're not here for me and for for to find out how I am. Actually, you are here to just lend for me to lend you money." And recently, I've just cut them out because I just thought, no, it's not doing well for my mental health. And this is the thing, and we have to do more to be able to look after ourselves. And if there are people in your life who are toxic, who are not, they shouldn't be there. They have bad traits. They make you feel that they are using you because of X, Y, and Z. Quite right, Linda. Bye bye to those people. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to wave goodbye to those people. You need to get rid of them. And I know that sometimes it's hard to remove these people from your life, but you do. You have to do that. There's an episode actually from from a couple of years ago actually, and she's coming on as well. So Alexandra came on the show last time, and she was talking about endometriosis. And one of her, at the end of every episode, we do a quote, and her quote was talking about this. And it's weird though, we've done full circle. But she was talking about the fact that you have to, even though these people might have been in your life for absolutely years, sometimes you just have to cut them out, to save your own mental health, to save your own mental feelings. Louise is commenting, your advice and guidance on mental health has been invaluable to me. I appreciate that, Louise. And I don't pretend to know absolutely anything. Sorry, I don't pretend to know absolutely anything. I don't pretend to know everything. I am far less educated than some people out there who are professional people in the mental health field. However, I can only draw upon my own experience to help other people. And that's what I've tried to do throughout the years. I have tried to use my own personal experiences to give advice and to give help. I've not divulged everything. I've not kind of gone, "Oh yeah, so you're going through this because, well, when I went through it, this is what I did." What I've tried to do is that I've tried to relate their thoughts and their feelings with how I was feeling back then. And I've gone, "Okay, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about maneuvering it in this direction or whatever?" But yeah, I think that when it comes to mental health, not only do we need to recognize when we are feeling some type of way and what that may possibly mean, but we also need to be able to reach out to someone and go, oh, hey, you know what? I've started feeling like this. I'm a little bit worried because of blah, blah, blah. And then we need to seek further advice if necessary. Once you seek that further advice and once you have that diagnosis, or once you have reached out to a professional and they give you help, they give you advice, you then need to stick at that. You are the master of your own life. Nobody's going out there to fix it for you. They can give you help. They can give you advice. A doctor, for example, can give you the medication, but you still need to make the steps to get better. We can't be stuck in that poor mental health mentality. We've got to make those steps to get through it. And I talked about so many times this imaginary bridge, all the way through season 1, all the way through season 2, talked about this mental bridge. And that's how I envision the issues that I have. I talk about the fact that on one side of the bridge is where you are. That's how you're currently feeling. And on this, but we need to get to this side. This is the good side. And sometimes we struggle, and sometimes we stumble as we're crossing that bridge. Sometimes the planks will fall. I always look at it as like a rickety bridge, and like, you know, from the films that can snap at one side and all that, like, and all of that is our trauma that we've got in our minds, and the image that we create about this issue, like a certain issue. So in my mind, I've got this rickety bridge if I'm going through something, and I've got to travel from one side to the other. Sometimes as I'm crossing that bridge, the planks will fall, something will make me stumble. And sometimes I'll need help crossing that bridge. But my aim is always the same, to get to that other side. Now, it might be that you know somebody who can help you, who can offer you help, who can offer you advice. It's not their job to push you over that bridge. You've got to make steps. They can walk alongside you just to make sure that when you do stumble and when that plank does fall, they are there with a helping hand to pull you up. But it's up to you to make those steps across that bridge. If you don't help yourself, there isn't anybody there to just run in and push you through that bridge, push you across it, because that bridge will just tumble. They can just give you a helping hand to help you walk across that bridge. That's the image that I have in my head anyway, and that helps me come to terms with what I'm dealing with. It also helps me visualize what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to get from point A to point B. These people are here to help me walk through it, but it's not that they're not there to do it for me. I've got to make that journey. I've got to take each step as it comes. Louise has commented saying, I've also cut some people out of my life recently. It's been very hard, but it's the best for me. And Linda's right, you have to. There are people who are venomous, let's say. They're venomous to us, they're venomous to our mentality, they're venomous to our mental health. And once you recognize these types of behaviors, and sometimes it's so hard because it could be family members, it could be friends that you've known since you were in school together, for example. But once you recognize those behaviors, you've got to just cut them out. I mean, it's no secret. I've talked about it in my book. I've wrote it in there. There are family members who I have cut out completely. And reason being is because they are so toxic. They are people who just are not any good for me. And every time that they were in my life, that my mind was just racing about X, Y, and Z, and they just made me feel awful. And it was because of that I thought, I have to just let them go. See you later. It is really, really hard. It is so hard. But once you recognize those behaviors, that venom that comes from them and that toxicity, when you realize that it is harder to keep them in your life, when it's time to say goodbye. That's essentially what I've done. Linda's commented, no, it's not, but for your own peace of mind, only positivity is the way forward. Exactly. Now, obviously, we're talking about mental health here, and just surrounding yourself with positive people and just cutting these people out of your life may not be enough. This is why I wanted to offer this space to kind of talk about the fact that sometimes you do need further help. Sometimes you do need to reach out to someone and just go, hey, you know what? Not feeling great. I just need someone to talk to. And sometimes as well, you can't just reach out to a friend. There have been times, for example, where I have always, everybody who knows me, for example, will always know that I go, you can talk to me about anything. All you ever have to do is reach out, and I'll always be there, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's hard to reach out to a friend. Sometimes it's hard to reach out to someone that you know to ask for help, to ask for advice, to tell them that actually I'm struggling because of blah, blah, blah. I'm struggling because of this situation. This situation has made me feel, because it's sometimes embarrassing. It's sometimes embarrassing to open up to people that you know and to say, you know what, I'm having a bit of a shit time here. And for those people who are like that, there's no shame in it. There's no shame in saying, I'm struggling right now to open up to a friend and to open up to someone. That's why there are organizations out there where somebody who does not know you can help. At my workplace, for example, there is an amazing service that they set up. And it's an employment program that you can just get in touch with if you are feeling some type of way, you just need a bit of help or advice or whatever, completely anonymous. And there are many, many workplaces across the country who offer that level of service. And it is always, and my advice to anybody who feels like they can't turn to someone and obviously is in work and they're needing help and support, is to find out if you've got one of these programs. If you've got a program at work, it's always worth just keeping that number in your wallet or keeping that note in your purse or in your handbag or in your pocket, wherever it is, in your car. Just make sure that you have, reach out to your HR team and see if there is a service like that. And these services, just as an FYI, are completely anonymous and your work will never find out about it. These are third-party people who can assess the situation. They can talk to you about your problems that you're going through, and they can refer you to a counselor, and they can refer you to people as well who specifically are that you ask for. If you are wanting a female counselor or a female outreach worker or whatever, if you are wanting someone to be a certain race or religion or whatever, you can request that. These are outreach programs for people for you to connect to that's completely external from work. Even though your work may provide it, it is completely external from that. They'll never know. And it's always, as I say, it's always best to have these numbers to hand if this is a service that your employer offers. But if not, then there is always, like Mind, for example. Mind is a mental health charity and organization, and can really, really help with just support or even just resources. If it's somebody that you know who might be feeling something, or you're concerned that they are going down a certain path, then you can reach out to them and they can offer you help, support, resources, whatever you want. It might even be, for example, that nobody in your life is actually going through this, but you just want some resources or just want some information that might help you out one day. Or it might be that your work or organization hasn't posted anything for a while about mental health, or hasn't talked about it, or hasn't sent an email to the office. And it might be that you just want to, offer your help and offer your support or offer your resources. And you can reach out to Mind, for example, to get resources to help you out at work and to help have these conversations. So if you are feeling some type of way, or if you are knowing someone who might be needing that extra bit of support, or if you want to just get some resources so you can help set up something at your workplace, this, or you just want to be able to educate yourself, then you can always ring the helpline from Mind, and you can speak to someone there who can help you out. The number is 020-3137-9590. That is it for Mind, the mental health charity and organisation in the UK, who can help you out with all that I've just been speaking about, essentially. So yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to talk about, with it being mental health, World Mental Health Day on Monday. Louise has commented, Linda, I think the older you get, the easier it becomes. You learn who toxic people are. You do. And I think when you're younger and you're growing up, I think what happens is that you become attached to certain people, or you want that attachment to certain people, because you get scared of being alone. You are seeking that affirmation from people to be part of a certain group, a certain popularity group, or whatever it is. You kind of crave that affirmation from certain people, and so therefore you don't recognize, or you do recognize the toxicity, but you crave the affirmation from them for that much that you become blinded to it, if you will. And I think when you get older, you start realizing, actually, I don't need these people. I'm all right. Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much what happens. Especially like in my life, when I look back, I just think, how did I let this happen for so long? And it's because when I think about it, it's because when I was younger, I was craving that affirmation from people. I was craving that social circle, and so I let a lot of things happen that shouldn't have happened. And I was a person that I didn't like, and now I look back and I just think, I don't give a shit. Like, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. It's as simple as that. And I'll just crack on. There's no skin off my nose. Simple as that. You know, you don't pay my bills. So yeah, you are right. It is a case of the older that you do get, I think you become less bothered. I think you kind of know, and you just think, I'm not a fan of you. Thank you. See you later. Bye. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about mental health. It is important to talk about it, but it's not just a case of talking about it. It's a case of, what do we do next? It's a case of reaching out if you need to reach out. It's a case of it might not necessarily be somebody personal. And as much as we want to make ourselves available for people who may be feeling depressed, or might be feeling anxious, or might be feeling that they are suffering with whatever it is, poor mental health, it might be that person might not necessarily be able to reach out to you because they feel embarrassed, because they feel like they can't. They don't want you to know that they are struggling. It might be, for example, it might be that person is the person that everybody goes to. It might be that person is the one that goes, oh, well, I'll speak to this person because they're feeling like this and I'll help them out. But then also this person over here, they need my help, so I'm going to help them out. But it might be that individual is struggling that much that they don't want to reach out to their friends and to their family, because they are the person that people reach out to them. And so therefore they don't want to come across as weak. They don't want to come across like, oh, actually, I'm actually struggling, so I can't help you. They want to make themselves available. And if that is the case, then there are other organizations out there that they can reach out to, whether that be one of these organizations and charities that have been set up, like Mind, for example, or it could be somebody or an organization through their work. But we have to recognize that there are always people that you can reach out to. It's not always toxic. Sometimes it's when people give a lot of their support to someone, but then when you need it, they aren't there for you. Yeah. Well, that is toxic. It's a toxic trait to have. There are people who will lean on you, but you know that you won't be able to lean on them. And that's awful. It's an awful place to be. But there is always someone that you can reach out to. And just one more time, I just want to talk about that. I just want to read out the number for Mind. So it's 020-3137-9590. As I said as well, there are different organizations out there that you can reach out to. It's not just Mind, but Mind do absolutely amazing work. I've donated to Mind for so long. And also, please reach out to your employer. If you reach out to your employer, just ask them if there is an organization that if there is an organisation that you can reach out to as a third party, and if you are a student, speak to your student advice centre and find a third party that you can reach out to. There are always people that you can reach out to. But then always, as I say, imagine that bridge. Imagine that rickety bridge in your mind. You are here. You need to get here. We can't stay in that situation. We can't stay in that poor mental health space. We have got to get across that bridge. And the only way that you're going to get across that bridge is if you start making those steps to it. Nobody is going to do it for you. They can help you. They can hold your hand, put their arm around you and hold you as you are crossing that bridge, but they can't do it for you. They have to, they can be there for when one of those planks of wood on that bridge, on that rickety bridge, breaks and you are dangling on for dear life, but they will be there to hold you, like to hold your hand and grab you and pull you back on that bridge. And to, as Linda said in the comments, walk side by side, correct. They can walk you across that bridge, but you have to cross that bridge. We can't stay in this poor mental health, this poor mental state. You have to cross that bridge. We can't stay in that negative mindset. We can't stay in that poor mental health state. If we are suffering with depression, we don't want to just stay there. We want to get well. We want to get better. If we are suffering with crippling anxiety, we don't want to just stay in that anxious space. We want to get through it. But it's up to you to make that first step and to continue across that bridge. Well, I think that's a very powerful note to end this week's episode on. It was only supposed to be a little bite-sized episode, but there you go. If they fall, help them up. Yes. Well, what we're talking about now leads me on to my quote. So at the end of every episode, I give everybody the opportunity, all my guests the opportunity to give a quote, something that they stand by, live by, something that they've heard that they just really like, but it could be something that really helps the other person or helps people out there. And my quote for today is "You Will Be Found." The "You Will Be Found" is a song title from a musical called Dear Evan Hansen. If you don't know about it, please look into it. It's such an amazing musical. I saw it on Broadway in London. They've made a film adaptation of it as well. But You'll Be Found is the well-known song on there from that musical, and they talk about suicide, talk about mental health, talk about fitting in. And the song You'll Be Found it's a song about you might be feeling really, really low. You might be at your lowest point, but you can be rest assured that somebody will be there to find you. They will reach out to you. You can hold their hand. So no matter what you're going through, even if, for example, you are in the darkest part of your life, just rest assured that you will be found. You will not be left in the dark. Someone will find you. Someone will pull you back into the light. And that is my quote, and that's why that quote is important to end this week's episode on. Thank you so much for joining in this week's episode of Spill It. Next week on Spill It, I say next week, next Monday. So on Monday, we have got Max joining us. Now, you might remember Max, who joined our episode. It was our second episode, actually. This is me. So this is going to be Max coming on, talking about trans rights, the trans journey that Max has been on as well, and all of that and more. And the journey that Max has been on over the last couple of years as well. Spill It's been on a massive journey, and Max has been on an even bigger journey. So Max will be on the show next week to talk about his journey. And of course, what the government has been doing about, trans rights. There was a huge backstep on trans rights a couple of years ago. So it's been really good to catch up with Max on that. If you want to get in touch about anything to do with mental health or about this week's episode or what we've got coming up, make sure that you drop me an email. It's marcus@spillit.uk. You can drop me an email about whatever you want. Even if you want to just, let me know what your thoughts are about this week's episode. It's up to you. Whatever. Crack on. For all of the episodes of Spill It and more, you can head over to the website www.spillit.uk. You can head over there to catch the episodes and also the links to this podcast are on there and the links to the shop, which will be closing down soon. So make sure you head over there. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on, to have you interacting. It's been amazing. Until we spill it again, it's bye for now.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Spill It. You can catch Spill It live every week over on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn. You can also catch up with Spill It on the move on your preferred podcast streaming service. And don't forget to follow me on all my socials at @Marcus W. And for anything Spill It related, you can always get in touch with me by dropping me an email, marcus@spillit.uk.